Swadika, welcome to Thailand Today here on NBT World. Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities Director General Ms. Thanaporn Promsuwan has participated in a seminar on the project to provide guide dogs for blind people in Thailand. One of the panelists is 22 years old visually-impaired Kirin Techawongtham, who has traveled with a guide dog, a male black Labrador named Luther, provided by Guiding Eyes for the Blind agencies in New York State. The Director General later accompanied Kirin to visit Thailand Social Expo 2019. Ms. Thanaporn said the Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities Act 2007 or 2007 supports guide dogs, which indicates that the disabled have the right to bring guide dogs or guide animals or any equipment for their own benefit. The Social Development and Human Security Ministry has also signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the Army, Agriculture and Food Conglomerate Jalern Prokapan, and the Thailand Association of the Blind to provide guide dogs for blind people. The Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities has also asked other state agencies along with the private sector to provide support in terms of personnel and venues to prepare the establishment of a permanent institute to provide guide dog services for the blind. The department recently signed an agreement with the Royal Society for the Blind RSB in Australia to provide guide dogs for the blind people in Thailand. Deputy Prime Minister Dr. Wisnu Kurangam, together with Paramethi Vimunsiri, Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Social Development and Human Security, presided over the opening ceremony of Thailand Social Expo 2019. The expo was organized under the theme of Partnership for Sustainability. This was the cooperation among Ministry of Social Development and Human Security and social agencies, both public and private, as well as civil sector from Thailand and ASEAN countries for more than 100 agencies. The event was for showing the social performance and innovation of Thailand along with academic conferences of Thailand and ASEAN countries and various entertainment activities. During the event, Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Social Development and Human Security has presented awards to winners of academic and innovative works for facilitating persons with disabilities. The Ministry of Social Development and Human Security has reported that there were 1.9 million people with disabilities in Thailand in 2018, of which nearly 200,000 or about 10% are visually impaired. With such rising numbers, people with disabilities could face not just physical but emotional threat if their issues is left unattended. Next break, we will talk about the experience of hard times with a guide dog and traveling mate in Bangkok. Coming back after a short break.
In 2019, Thailand is ready for ASEAN chairmanship, working together and building solidarity to increase competitiveness and innovation with the people at the center. All sectors are ready to promote unity of the ASEAN community. NBT World is excited to be a full supporter of the Thai ASEAN chairmanship. Keep up to date on ASEAN 2019 movement with NBT World.
Today we will have a special guest to talk about an experience of a visually impaired who found that a living traveling mate from the US is not welcome at all in Thailand. So please welcome Mr. Kirin Techawongtham. She's Orang Sai, that we call her in short. She's a psychology major student at Hendrix College in Conway, Arkansas in the United States. So who just awarded the President Medal of her best exemplification of the highest deals of the college. Sawadika.
Sawadika.
Welcome to Thailand Today program.
Thank you.
Well, before we get into the project that we want to talk about, we'd like to hear you. Do you mind telling us what happened actually to you so that you lost your visual?
Okay, yeah, I lost my sight when I was 13, and it's because I had a brain tumor that pressed against the optic nerves, so it damaged the optic nerves, and I did have it removed, but we suspect that it has been there for a while, and so it caused damage to the optic nerve, and that caused my blindness.
But then this is quite unusual for the parents to send you to other country. We call it fortunate time or something, that you have such a parents who think of sending you to United States. So what is that? I mean, what do you think? Why do they think that you should be going there?
I think it's several reasons, but one of the most important reasons is that they know that the United States has generally a better support system for people with disabilities, because they have laws and they have people who have been advocating for people with disabilities, and but also because when I was in high school I attended a summer program twice actually to get like independent training as a blind person, to be able to travel, use technology and live independently, so they know that I will be able to live by myself.
The Hendrix University of yours is a kind of ordinary university with the work study along with the normal people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So how did you manage?
They have a very good support system, so every universities in the state usually already have like the disability service office, and so does Hendrix. And so when I want to apply, I contact the school and be like, I'm a blind student, what services or how will you be able to support me? And they have experience with blind students before, so they know that whatever I need, they'll be able to help me.
Oh, you were lucky. I think we're comparing to many people, but this has come out so well. So how did you get to know your start from the day one that you have your Luther with you?
From day one, from when I went to college.
How did you get Luther?
Yeah, I got Luther the summer in between my second and third year of college. So I started thinking about getting a guide dog in January of 2017, I think. And so I applied to the school. I had to fill in an application, and then after I passed that stage, they came to actually meet me where I live and interview me, asking me, why I want a guide dog, if I think I'll be able to take care of him. And they also look at my environment, the kind of environment where I live in, such as like if it's a city or for example, in my case, it's a small town. And then they also observe like how well I'm able to travel by myself, because in order to get a guide dog, you actually have to already be able to travel independently. So they ask me to cross the street, and they see if I can cross the street by myself.
Really?
Yeah, and just walk around and see how well I can do that.
So the idea of getting Luther came by yourself. Did you want someone? Want a guide dog?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I had thought of a guide dog before, because someone has mentioned it and I have heard of it before. But initially, I didn't really want one, because I already travel by myself with the cane, and I felt like that was efficient. But during my second year, I struggled quite a bit with depression, and in the United States, they had the concept of like therapy dogs and emotional support animals, and so during one school break, I visited a friend, and he has a dog, and I got to play with him, and it was very nice, and it made me feel a lot better. And so I was like, maybe I do want a dog. And so I started thinking, so I was like, if I want a dog, I might as well get a guide dog. So yeah.
Why not? Because we can be a friend at the same time,
Right.
and help you to walk around,
Yeah.
to go everywhere. So you can you use Luther as a friend and to go everywhere,
Yeah.
grocery or.
Yeah. It depends. Some places I don't take him just because it's more convenient
Oh, really?
to go by myself or with other people. So it's not like I do take him every single place, but what I enjoy is that I have the choice to decide if I do want to take him or not.
When we talk about dog or canine to help people, so we need to know, because as we all know that in Thailand is not so much accustomed to having the canine with us all. So what is actually the wording of guide dog?
Like what is actually a guide dog?
What kind of help do you wanted from it?
Yeah, so I think service dogs in general are like animals that are able to perform certain functions that people with disabilities aren't able to. And so in the case of a guide dog, his function is to help me travel independently. I don't like to say that he travel for me or like be my eyes because as I said earlier, I still have to be able to travel by myself and I still have to be able to tell him where I want to go and how to get there. So it's not like he does everything for me, it's not like he just takes me where I need to go. I still need to be able to do that, but he makes that activity easier and goes more smoothly, I guess.
For us all, it is something very unique experience. For a lady, for a young girl to walk along with and being friends with this, and so how do you tell them? How do you talk to Luther every day? How do you what do you call? Okay, you want to go somewhere, as you said, you guide Luther, not Luther guiding you. But again, you go somewhere. How do you talk? Do you converse with him?
Oh yeah. If it's a familiar route, like when I was in college and I want to go from my dorm room to a classroom. I usually teach him first, so I will have a day where I'm not actually need to go there, but I will work with him from point A to point B, and I will cut the whole route into small section. For example, from my dorm room to the bridge, to the bottom of the bridge where I have to cross, and so I will work with him on that and be like slowly teaching him how to get to the bridge, and then
How do you do that?
I use a clicker. I have one with me because it's a clicker like this.
Some equipment there.
Yeah, so I don't really want to click because when I click, he knows that he
knows it. some movement to be done.
because he's taught to associate the clicker, the sound of the clicker, with a treat, and so I use that to. So, for example, if I'm gonna tell him to go to the bridge, I will walk until I get to the bottom of the bridge, and then I will say. And then I will click, and he will.
One click.
Yes, click, and he knows to stop.
One click is stop.
Well, it's I'll stop, and then when he
click
yeah. So I guess I'm like. It sounds like that. So I'll get to the bottom of the bridge. I'll stop. He stop, and I click, which means that he did the right thing, which is to stop. So I only click after he did stop. And so when I click, I have to give him a treat.
Something.
Yes, like
that's why you have a bag. The small pouch there.
Yes, and so I'll do that several times.
What kind of the food you have?
Just it's training treats, so it's just like dog treats, but it's
can I
like
touch?
yeah, of course.
So it's bread. Is it?
I think so. I don't. Yeah, something. Biscuit. But it's just low in calorie. So actually, when, for example, the bottom of the bridge, I'll stand there at the bottom of the bridge where I want him to stop. I'll click and I'll give him a treat. I do that several times. Then I start to slowly move backward from where I want him to go. So I'll move 2 steps backward. And then I tell him forward, and if he go forward and stop where I want him to stop,
you said.
Yes, I'll say forward. He'll walk to the place where I want him to stop, and if he stop, I click and I give him treats, and we slowly move backward further and further until he's able to just walk to that point and stop. If that makes sense, it's a little bit complicated.
Yeah, but you manage it, And so this is your first and ever. This is the first canine that you have.
Yes, I never have pets before.
So you make interesting. So you're choosing. Let's talk a little bit more now. We'll talk a little bit longer for this one. I mean, when someone offer you, how do you have a chance to choose it? Or say this one. I like Luther. You don't see it yourself.
No, I didn't. I didn't choose Luther. The school matched me with the dog.
Oh, they match you.
Yes.
I see. Interesting. So that's a good pair.
Yeah.
I was asking because I wonder why. Because it's so like smart looking and it's so like clean looking. And you said hardly take bath.
Yeah, not a lot. He doesn't smell. So.
Very interesting. Well, okay. So tell me, why guide dogs are essential for the blind?
Well, first, I like to say that I wouldn't say that guide dogs are necessarily better than using a cane. It is a different method of travel, but I guess I would say that it's essential because first, it gives blind people the freedom to be able to travel independently, to not have to rely on other people, to be able to live their lives independently. But second is just, as I said, it allows them choice, which a lot of time for disabled people, a lot of time we don't have that choice.
I got it. So what factors of your decision to apply for a guide dog while studying in the United States?
Like, why did I apply for a guide dog? Well, I guess as I said,
You
because
already told me that.
yeah,
But because you're saying the people been using, we hardly see in Thailand. We hardly have
Yeah.
such a kind of help. So how your guide dog Luther has enhanced your quality of daily life?
well, several ways actually. The first and the most like kind of obvious way is that a lot of time it makes traveling more smooth. Because when I use a cane, I have to run into the obstacles first before I know that it's there, and then I have to walk around it. But with Luther, he's able to see the obstacle before I know it, and so he will take me around it automatically. So it makes traveling more smooth, goes more smoothly, and more like sighted people. But besides that, he's also a good companion. You know,
Of
so
course.
yeah, and it actually also makes sighted people or non-disabled people sometimes feel more comfortable to come talk to me, because sometimes when they see that I'm blind, they don't feel comfortable coming up to talk to me because they don't know how to interact with disabled people. And so that's kind of a side benefit.
That means, while I'm listening to you, that means the trained dog is already, especially there, because the way they guide you, the way you take him, he avoid the obstacle for you. That shows that he's already being trained properly.
Yeah, no, he has to be trained very well, and not because he's trained not only in guide work, which is to guide me, but also in basic social etiquettes. For example, he's trained to not get excited with loud noise or large crowd. He has to be able to stay calm all the time.
Attraction doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't do anything harm to him.
No.
What is that to be harmful to him?
You mean like to be harmful to?
Yeah, to lead him to uncomfortable or something.
Like I'm not sure if like
What kind of annoying anything to annoy him? What kind of annoying he going to get it? People scream at him. People do what?
yeah
Bully him or
yeah usually. Well, other dogs can distract him sometimes, you know, especially if they're barking at him, because he's still a dog. So you know, if he see other dogs, he might want to go say hi.
just like us.
Right. Or if people are trying to get his attention or trying to come in, he's usually pretty good. If people just calling him, he'll just keep walking because he knows that he's working. But if it's a lot, it just makes it harder for him to concentrate on his work.
It's so much like, you're telling me must appreciate Mr. Luther because he's so much responsible for what he's doing. This is great things, But then again, when he faces something, he will protect you. Will he protect you from even harmful? Supposing somebody arrests you.
I don't know about that actually, because he's a very gentle dog. So I honestly don't know. I don't think that he's really trained to protect me. He's just trained to guide me. But he was trained. It's called intelligence disobedience, which means usually I'm always in control and I'm the one who give him commands, right? But if I give him commands, for example, if I'm crossing the street and I say forward, cross the street, and there's a car speeding toward me, and he sees that, he would not follow my command. Yes, because that's only in an emergency, because I should be able to tell if the car is coming. But if for some reasons I don't, he will not obey me.
Wow,
Yeah.
such a great woman. I'm really surprised to hear all this. Well, so we're going to come back for the second part, okay? So we are coming back to the end of our first part of the interview. So we will get back to her for her experience and see how Luther going to help her in Bangkok, and how is the project being accepted or can be done in the future to come.
Okay.
All right.
NDT World, an English language television channel in Thailand. Authoritative sources for all government information.
High standard content that's reliable and accurate across every platform. Our mission is to reflect the vision of Thailand.
Keep up to date through our application or website by searching for NBT World. NBT World, a vision of Thailand.
welcome back once again. We are still with Nong Sai, who will tell us about her experience of hard work or hard time that she have when with her guide dog and while she's in Thailand or in Bangkok. So tell me, you are in Bangkok. You are Bangkokian.
Yes.
I see. So you told me before that after this, you already graduated from psychology. So you're going to go ahead with the other education, higher education?
Yes, I'm taking a gap year this year, but I'm planning to go back to get my master in mental health counseling next year
And you intend to work here or in the States?
in the States.
In the States,
Yeah.
you're going to lose your English command and all that kind of thing, and also people need it. Okay, so tell me, how do you feel? Because you are advocating for people, or what do you call people like you, I mean, the blind people, to have a dog because since Luther is not welcome when you return to Thailand or to Bangkok after your school break, right? So tell me the experience of when you take for the first day you take Luther on the road.
Like take him back to where?
Outside
Like here?
in Thailand.
Yeah. The two things that I experience here when I take him out is first, a lot of people when they see him, they don't realize that he's a guide dog. So sometimes, first they look surprised or pleasantly surprised or fearfully surprised. But a lot of times, sometimes they'll try to make noise or get his attention, which I usually don't actually like allow. But another thing that I often experience when I take him out when I'm here in Thailand is trying to go inside buildings or places and
They don't like
them not denying me access into those
really?
buildings because I have a dog with me.
But this is a special kind of dog. It's not
Right.
an ordinary pets.
Yes, and that's the thing, because the thing is, Thailand actually does have a law that allowed service dogs and guide dogs
Exactly.
to access public buildings, but because we don't actually have service dogs in Thailand, people are not aware of this law or even what service dogs are and what they can do. And so when they see him, they just think that he's a pet, and so they'll be like, we don't allow pets in these buildings.
Did you despite of the reason that you give?
Yeah.
Oh, that is bad. So I believe the Department of Empowerment of Persons trying hard to allow or to try to advocate from now on Thai people who really have visual impaired can bring the dog inside.
Yeah, we're really hoping that now that people are learning about guide dogs, that would be something that slowly, eventually happens, I guess.
I think you have to be more on Thai TV, so that they've learned, and that they hear about this and understand the necessity of having guiding by this, We used to we have invited some blind people and they talk about some kind of machinery or what they have, a stick with the extended stick and with the sounding, or they're trying to make it a new way of innovation to help the blind or visual impaired. But anyway, but it's not to that and the Luther, which do you think prefer to have Luther or the innovation equipment?
I mean, I think different people would probably prefer different things. I never tried those technology before, so I can't really say. But one thing I can say is that even when I have a guide dog, I still use my cane sometimes, especially when I go to new places. I'm not familiar with my surrounding. I still use my cane because I'm able to tell better what is around me with a cane than a dog. So it's not like one is necessarily better than the others. It's just for different circumstances.
What major reason Luther was not allowed in some places? You mentioned already, but what other places?
Yeah, I mean, usually they don't really tell us why. They just say that dogs are not allowed, and even when we explain, they just like, no, we can't allow him. But we think that it could be because of two main reasons. One is that they might worry that he would make loud noise, or damage properties, or make like poop or pee and make the place dirty because they don't know that he's been very well trained. But the other reason is might be that even when he understands, he might worry that other customers would see the dog and be like, why is this dog allowed in here? Why isn't my dog allowed? Because other customers might not know that he's a guide dog, and so they might worry that they would have to like explain to those customers, and it's, I guess, a lot of work for them.
Possible because but things slowly, because Thailand has become more like modernized. They gradually growing up. People have a better experience and all kind of thing.
Yeah.
So and then but this is a talk between us, like because this kind of canines is very expensive. So people have to be affordable to get one if it is being introduced to Thailand.
Yeah, and I think that's the main reason, because I know that the Thailand was looking into like starting a guide dog school, but there is quite a high cost for training one dog, and certainly you can't really put that cost on the blind person because it's a lot, and so you have to be able to afford that or find some sponsors to help with the cost, and so that's certainly a big obstacle.
Another obstacle is because of the roadway, walkway.
Right.
Because in Thailand, it's not so smooth, right?
Yeah.
Tend to be complicated sometimes.
Right, but actually that's kind of like one advantage of having a guide dog, because Luther's pretty good at helping me avoid obstacles, even when there are a lot of them. Even if there's a narrow pathway that he and I won't be able to walk together, if he thinks that we won't be able to walk together, he would stop, and so that I won't walk into something. But one kind of obstacle that we sometimes face is overhead obstacles, such as tree branches or electricity cords that hang down. Luther is not very good with overhead obstacles.
Oh, really? But I don't think Luther is expecting such a thing.
Right.
In town with the hanging of the wirings.
Yeah.
But have you experienced that before? Luther
Yeah.
has experienced that?
Tree branches, yeah.
Yeah.
Or like some signs that stick out, and I just smash my head.
Smash?
Sometimes.
Poor thing. Yeah. But anyway, he might be sorry also for you. He could help you.
Yeah.
He could help you. So, I believe you are an awardee of the President's Medal at the college you belong. And so what attributed to your success?
I think the main thing is the support system that the school has, and the principals that they support me. They don't try to help me with the principle that disabled people cannot do things and we have to do things for them. They support with the principle that disabled people should be able to do anything just like everyone else, and how can we make them able to do it. And so I think that's most important, because it also makes me feel more comfortable to try new things, to apply for different activities, because I know that when I apply, I won't get the response of like, you're blind, we don't think you can do it, and it makes me feel better and more like, I guess,
Encouraging, boosting up.
right, to be able to try for new things.
Yeah. So, what president? I mean, president of the country, of the United States? When you talk about president medal, president of the university or the president?
No,
of...
so it's an award that is given to one student in the graduating class, who has, I don't remember the exact description, but who has like achieved the college ideal, which involved like community service, academic achievement, and that kind of stuff.
Since you're in Thailand, when did you come? When did you arrive?
At the end of May.
So this is just a few months here. So
Yeah.
have you experienced or a meeting with the people of having a visual impaired, to boost them up or to show them that how you're such a good English speaking, and with the ability of graduation, you graduate in the University of the United States, even if you're not 100%, but still you're able to show them off like that. Have you seen them? Met with some of them?
I haven't really met a lot of them. I actually don't really know a lot of blind people in Thailand, because I mean there is the blind association in Thailand, but it's kind of far away from my home, so I don't get to go there or get involved that much. But I have heard from some blind people through our page who reach out and just be like, hey, I learned about your story, and that kind of stuff. So
You have your page?
Yes, we have a Facebook page that we're trying to raise awareness about guide dogs.
Okay. So what's going to be containing in that?
Just daily activities, like sometimes just like funny pictures of Luther playing, but also sometimes just like trying to give some information about like how exactly I work with Luther and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So if Luther is sick,
Uh-huh.
how will you manage?
Well, if he's sick, then I still have to be able to travel by myself. So in that case, I'll use my cane. But
How do you know he's sick?
I mean,
Quiet.
I'm not sure, but I feel like I will be able to tell because I've been living with him for the last 2 years, and we spend basically every moment together. So I feel like I'll be able to, because I can still feel him. Like if he's thinner than
Fever,
usual, I will be able to feel his ribs, or if he's walking funny or slower than usual, because I know his normal pace and all those stuff. So, but I'm sure that if other people notice something, that they would tell me too. So,
How about meal times?
he eats 2 times a day, just in the
You're
morning.
providing him or?
Yeah, I feed him, and he just eats normal dog food. Yeah, but I do control how much he eats, and I don't usually give him like treats outside of his mealtime because I do try to control his weight.
I'm sorry that I have to ask a little bit on this because we still have a lot of time. Being a visual impaired person and the education you receive today, the success that you've been receiving, is it the matter with you feel sorry for what's happening to you or not? Or because of, doesn't matter?
No, I mean, I still live my life like everyone else. I might do some things differently, but I don't want people to see it as disabled people or blind people are less than other people. Because besides my inability to see, I still think and feel and like to do this and not like to do that, just like everyone else. So, I mean, it's hard sometimes, but I often feel that it's more because how society perceive us than because that I'm disabled itself.
How do you look at I believe that you have visited one of the there's a show, there's a social fair something. How was it?
It was good.
Social 2019 or something.
Yeah, it was a social expo, which
yeah.
was, I think, was supposed to like showcase like different services that the government has, like the different departments. So I was invited to attend and talk on the stage a little bit about Luther, just introduce the idea of guide dogs to the audience who were there. Yeah.
They were very excited.
Yeah, I think some people are interested. I think some other people might not know about the show. So yeah, I don't know how many actually heard.
Oh, there's a lot there, really. I'm very proud of you, really. Good to hear about it. Well, okay, I have a half minute for you. You look up to the straight to you. There's a message. We need to hear your message to our audience to better understand how essential of the guide dogs for a visual impaired people. Straight to you, please.
Okay. I think it's essential because first it allowed us to be able to travel independently and have freedom like everyone else, like people who are not disabled. But it also is a great companion for us, and it makes me able to travel more smoothly a lot of times than using a cane. And I just want the example, for example, of me and Luther to demonstrate that disabled people can live an independent life if we receive the right training and the right opportunities in the right environment. So,
Yeah. Please accept my thanks and gratitude of being here. To tell you very frankly, I'm very proud of you to be a young person with a high education and you crave for, because to finish a degree in the United States is not the easy things. It's such a fabulous language that you have. Really wish you all the best for your undertaking. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much. And we ending up our program with thanks to Nong Sai for being here with us, and looking forward to see you in case that you graduate for your master degree. Come back here and let us know what's going on. All right?
Yeah, okay.
We are ending up our program with thanks and looking forward to see you, and hope you enjoy the show then. Bye-bye.